All right, this is a Prophetic Timeline summary version. This is going to be an abbreviated version. I'm going to try to move pretty rapidly through here. We're going to cover Daniel 9:24 through 27, and then a bunch of other prophecies. It says in Daniel 9:24, 70 weeks are determined upon thy people Israel, well, Israel's implied, and upon thy holy city to finish the transgression or rebellion and to make an end of sins, and it goes on. This first part of this prophecy is being fulfilled in the latter days here and now. It tells us, going on there, that from the decree to restore and rebuild Jerusalem. Well, that decree on the slide here in the center box was made in 1947 by the United Nations when Israel was there was a decree to give Israel back to the Jews. And that started the clock ticking on this prophecy. And if you count off 70 years to finish the rebellion, to finish our sin and our transgression, which the Israelite nations are really doing. That's Israel over there today, Judah, and America, and Great Britain, and the Anglo-Saxon countries. We're still in full rebellion with our 4,000 abortions a day and our homosexual marriage and everything else. Well, that ends in 2017. You count off 70 years, that takes you to 2017. 3.5 years before that, this beast government takes over and eats the flesh. You'll notice in the box, in the third box there, shall eat the flesh and burn her with fire, the great whore, this Babylon, this end-time nation Babylon. And so the power that comes on the scene after this, which assimilates or brings together these 10 nations, and the whole world is under their power, it kicks it off by burning Babylon, this nation Babylon, by fire. We cover that in the next slide as well. Well, this end-time nation Babylon is also prophesied here in Jeremiah in the left box, Jeremiah 25, which says, "These nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years, and it shall come to pass when the 70 years are accomplished that I'll punish the king of Babylon and that nation and make it perpetual desolations." So it's going to be perpetual desolations. It'll be utterly burnt with fire in one day. And, of course, what kicks off that is the United Nations Charter, when these nations, 26 nations, started serving the end-time Babylon, USA, on January 1st, 1942. And the UN Charter was signed on June 26, 1945. So somewhere in between those two times, I think that the 70 years are up as of January 1st, 70 years in one day, as of January 1st, 2012. Zechariah has a prophecy about the same thing there in 1:12, where it says that our Heavenly Father has had indignation these 70 years with Jerusalem, Judah, and the Israelite nations. You can read up about that. And that's the indignation as we formed this one world government. Well, going on, you'll notice that in that Daniel prophecy, Daniel 9:24, that he says that it's really dual in fulfillment. These 70 weeks can be weeks of years, 70-year periods, or 70 feasts of weeks, which there's one every year at Pentecost. And that's what's determined upon thy people, and he's praying about his people Israel. That's all of Israel, not just Judah, not just that southern kingdom that came out of the last captivity of Babylon and rebuilt, and the Messiah came and fulfilled some of this prophecy. But much of this has not been fulfilled, like to finish the rebellion, to finish the transgression, which hasn't been fulfilled. And jumping down to verse 27, it says, "And he shall confirm the covenant with the many for 1 week. In the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease." I think that was fulfilled in the Messiah, based on the 77's prophecy from the Artaxerxes decree to rebuild Jerusalem. And 3.5 years later, sure enough, the Messiah was cut off, and he caused the oblation to cease and the sacrifice back then. But the second part of this in blue there, concerning the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate even to the consummation. That hasn't been fulfilled yet. That our overspreading abominations of what you see going on here in America today with our homosexual marriage and 4,000 abortions a day, and how we've turned from our God. We took down the 10 Commandments and all the rest of it, prayer out of school. Even into the consummation. Well, that's the consummation of the age. That's the 2017 he's talking about. So that's what the rest of that prophecy is about. Well, there's more to it. Well, for just in about 1 minute here, I'm going to give you the references to Babylon being USA. And in Revelation 17:18, this is the third slide here, New York and the United Nations is what this is referencing when it says that she reigns over the kings of the earth. But the kings of the earth all now are reigned over from the United Nations in New York. And Revelation 18 talks about this big import-export nation which has the highest standard of living. That's 18:3. The merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Yeah, those abundance of delicacies, that's that high standard of living the USA enjoys. And import-export, that's the merchants, and it talks about the ships. The greatest city on earth is talked about in Revelation 18:18. What city is like unto this great city? And if you ask anybody, they'll tell you New York's the greatest city. Jeremiah 50:23 talks about, and this is all about daughter of Babylon, the same mystery Babylon nation, the superpower policeman of the whole world. It calls it the hammer of the whole earth. How the hammer of the whole earth is cut asunder and broken. So this policeman of the world is broken, taken down. And the next point is about how they literally fly in the U.S. Air Force. In Habakkuk 1:7 and 8, it's also talking about the daughter of Babylon. It says that their horsemen come from afar. They fly as the eagle, that they shall fly as the eagle that hasteth to eat. Well, this is amazing for a number of reasons. They didn't have flying machines when he wrote this. So he's writing about a nation that flies, literally flies through the air. And the eagle is our symbol. It's on all of our Air Force stuff. The next one is about how she's proud and turns against Yahuwah, our Heavenly Father, and that's his name. He says, for she has been proud. This is Jeremiah 50, verse 29. There's another key point. These are just clues so that you can figure out who this end-time nation is. It says, for she has been proud against Yahuwah, against the Holy One of Israel. And in 50, verse 11, it says, O you destroyers of mine heritage, because you are grown fat as heifers at grass. So this is his heritage, and we've turned against him. We were founded on the Bible, and we've become proud to be an American, and we've turned against him. And Babylon, USA here, is the only other nation except Israel which is founded on the Bible. It flatly tells us that in our founding documents. And we certainly have grown fat, or portly, right? Fattest nation on earth. By the way, Babylon is a nation. That's the next point, and it's the youngest of nations. That's from Jeremiah 50, verse 12. The hindermost of nations shall be as a wilderness and a dry land and a desert. The hindermost means youngest, and we're the youngest, less than 300 years old. And the key point here too is this is referring to a nation. This daughter of Babylon is a nation. It's not just a city, and it's not a system. A lot of guys spiritualize this away and say it's a system and you got to come out of it, or it's a church, or it's this or that. It's a nation. It tells you right here flatly. It's a nation. And now the next point is about Babylon is in the north, and Zion, his remnant people, dwell in Babylon. So this land of the north, well, America's in the north. Zechariah 2:6, ho, ho, flee from the land of the north. And 2:7, deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. There it is, daughter of Babylon, and Zion that dwells with her, his people. And that fits perfectly with Revelation 18:4, which says, I heard another voice come out of heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and you receive not of her plagues. Now, you have to come out of her because if you stay here, well, your tax-funded dollars are going to pay for people's abortions to kill their innocent children now with Obamacare, and pay for predator drones to bomb people that are innocent around the world, things like that. Now, the next is the glory of all nations, and known for its homosexual perversity. That's from Isaiah 13:19, which is also talking about the daughter of Babylon. It says, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. Well, if you ask anybody what's the most excellent nation in the world, they'll say the USA. And we just fulfilled this Sodom and Gomorrah thing with our homosexual marriage that Obama passed. The next is the Israelite nation. He says, my people, I have polluted mine inheritance. That's from Isaiah 47:6, also about the daughter of Babylon. So the daughter of Babylon is his inheritance. It's an Israelite nation. It's the people of God of the Bible. Of course, most people don't know that they've descended from the Israelite nations. You can do a little study and figure that out. And the next point, there's 17 points here that I've just noted, and I think there's over 100 or something if you go poking around out there on the internet. It's a melting pot people. It says there are mingled people in the midst of her. If you look at America, we have Mexicans and Africans and lots of people from India, all over the world. We're the biggest melting pot nation. And then the last one, Babylon goes to war with Iran, the Medes. They still speak the Mede language, and is destroyed. And Jeremiah 51:11, Yahuwah hath raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes for his device. I think that's a nuclear device, is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahuwah, the vengeance of his temple. people don't understand that his people are his temple. He doesn't dwell over there in a temple anymore, and there's not going to be an altar set up and all that. I don't think. Looks to me like the vengeance is for his people over here. And so this end time nation goes to war. This end time Babylon goes to war with Iran and is destroyed, loses. Well, that's what's coming for us, I think. We'll pick this up in the next session, and we'll try to keep this to 2 10-minute sessions.